want to tell you a little bit about my guest. Daril Cinquanta was born in St. Mary's, Pennsylvania back in 1948, just yesterday.
A few years ago.
Practically.
Yeah.
He grew up in the family restaurant business, and why anyone would ever be in the food industry, I have no clue, but he grew up in it. That's probably the only reason. In Riverside, California, and also in Boulder, Colorado. Growing up in Boulder, he was expelled from two junior high and two high schools. Man, we got a lot in common.
Are you talking about yourself here, DC?
I know. This guy and me, we have a lot more in common. He's a tad bit older than me, but our life path is pretty much the same. But during his roller coaster childhood, which he described, he lost his driver's license 3 times before the age of 18. He attended Harbor Junior College, taking police science classes in pursuing his childhood dream of becoming a crime fighter. He became a Denver police officer, entering the police academy in 1970. Early in his 20-year career, he admitted that being a cop was the only thing that he was ever good at. I have a hard time believing that, but okay. He was called a super cop and amassed thousands of arrests. Through his investigations, he generated a great deal of positive and negative publicity. His work was legendary in Colorado police circles. He says that he often bent and at times broke departmental rules and regulations, but he followed the law, resulting in an outstanding and extraordinary conviction rate. He was very controversial, as you can imagine, and often the administration, lawyers, some judges, and citizen activists would routinely attack his credibility and his style. Yet during his career, he received the Police Medal of Honor. He received the Police Distinguished Service Cross, the Service Cross, the Purple Heart, 6 Police Merit Awards, Optimus Club Policeman of the Year, Citizens Appreciate Police Award of Honor, and over 160 official, departmental, and outside jurisdiction commendations. After his retirement, he started his own private investigation firm, Professional Investigators, Inc., in Denver, Colorado. Now, he's an award-winning author. His book, The Blue Chameleon, details his journey as a police detective, now retired from the Denver Police Department, as he evolved into a super cop in spite of the efforts by some of his own commanders, community activists, and even many other officers who felt threatened by his hard work and exemplary successes as they attempted but failed to render him ineffective for years. His career is riddled with controversy, citizen complaints, lawsuits, and disciplinary action, which mostly sought to break his enthusiasm to chase bad guys. In spite of the harassment, he goes on to arrest thousands of felons and put so many individuals in prison nationwide. The book that he has written takes you deep into the inner mechanics of a big city police department and the world of informants, search warrants, and investigations, and the creative way that this detective was able to become a controversial legend amongst fellow officers and criminals alike. Wow. Let's welcome Daril Cinquanta to Barside Jive Live. Hey, Daril.
Wow, what an introduction.
Dude, man, you earned it. I mean,
they're going to think I sent you money.
No, man, it's all you. I mean, it's an amazing career, an amazing, the obstacles that you encountered and the things you've done. Gosh, I'm going to be honest here. I'd not heard of you until I saw you on the news this past weekend, and they had you on for just a couple of minutes, it seemed like, and I was like, oh my God, I want to hear more of this guy's story, because there are a lot of correlations between our careers, our experiences from youth through adulthood. And although people do say, I don't know about you, people do say that I still have yet to grow up. So there may be some difference there, but our paths have been very similar. Like I said, after I saw you on the news this weekend, I was like, God, I got to hear more of this guy. So that's why I reached out to you, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come on tonight and tell us more about your story. So you went to work for Denver PD in 1971? 1970. Okay. And went to the academy, right?
Yes.
And after the academy, I assume you hit the street.
I did.
Okay. And something tragic happened to you. I don't know how long it was after you got out there on the street in patrol, but tell us about what happened.
You're probably talking about my shooting incident,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to understand how I got to District 1. When I left the academy, I went to District 2, which was the black neighborhood, and I really enjoyed working there.
Mm-hmm.
But they drew names out of a hat, and I had to go to traffic. Can you imagine me in traffic? So, Jesus Lord. So me and my partner, who was Ferzini, we were making all sorts of arrests and stuff, and I decided to do a search warrant on a judge's house.
Oh.
And I did. And I it's in my book. I mean, I write about it.
Right.
So I hit this judge, and she happened to be up in the mountains on the bench, but her dope dealing son was in the house. So I scored, thank God. Anyway, they kicked me out of traffic. So I ended up in District 1. So District 1 is when I was working the morning shift, and I had just gone to Winchell's and got a twist and a chocolate milk.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Now, I'm sure that surprises you.
Wait a minute. Winchell's Donuts?
Oh, they were
Yes.
the best.
So I went to the donut shop. It's Sunday morning, real early, and I'm getting a twist and a chocolate milk. And I'm going to the Sunnyside Drug to get a Sunday newspaper. So anyway, I go down this Mariposa Way in the Quig Newton projects, and I see this car, and it's got two females and a guy sitting in it. And I drive by him and take a peek, and the guy is wearing one of those Castro hats. You know, he is the only guy I've ever seen wear one, number one. You remember those hats
Yeah,
that
no.
Castro used to wear? They're green and whatnot, and had some buttons on it.
Yeah.
But he looked like a bad guy. In those days, you know, you would turn around, you'd stop, you'd ID him, you'd clear him,
Right.
you'd look at his ID, and you'd search him. And we could do that back then.
Right.
And today, they don't want you to do that.
Oh, you have to have probable cause.
Well, I had probable cause. I mean, we had different names for it, habeas mabeus, things like that. You know, but really, you know, he looked like a bad guy, and
Right.
I wasn't wrong. So I go around and I talk to this guy, and he's talking Spanish, and I ask for his ID. He gives me a wallet, a little wallet with some pictures and a Social Security card, Luis Archuleta. So anyway, I get him out of the car. His shirt tails are out, and I tell him to go to the back of the car, put his hands on the trunk, and I'm going to search him. Well, he turns backwards, and he's sidestepping the trunk with his butt, and his elbow is coming up. Well, you know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out he's pulling a gun. So I hit him in the temple, knock his hat and glasses off. Stupid here reaches across his body and grabs his gun hand, and it's got a gun in it. And this is a rookie move. I mean, it really is. Looking back, I should have backed up and shot it out with him. So anyway, I couldn't hold his wrist, and he levels the gun and shoots me. So thank God he didn't stick around to finish the job. He took off running. So I had to crawl to the car because we didn't have radios that came out of the car. And I didn't have a bulletproof vest because we didn't have them then. So I took one. So I had to crawl the car and call for help.
Well, Darryl, where were you shot?
We call it like the 9 ring, but it was down on my right side, kind of in the front, and below the heart. I lucked out.
What kind of gun did he have?
It was a revolver, and I suspected it was a .38.
Yeah. Yeah. Did he drop the gun?
No.
Yeah.
No, he isn't going to part with his gun. He may have to shoot it out with other cops.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was the first thing that came to your mind when you realized you'd been shot?
I'm in deep, deep trouble. You know, it knocked me down. I had my gun in my hand. I don't even remember pulling the gun, and you know, it was very traumatic, and it kind of knocked the wind out of me, as I recall. But this guy was a escapee from Soledad Prison in California.
Mm.
He had come to Colorado to hide. Okay, one of the girls' husbands was doing time in Soledad, so he says, "Hey, you're going to break out. You're going to do this. Go to Colorado and stay with my woman," and which he did.
Did the women that were with him in the car, did they split too?
No, they didn't budge.
Oh. So he took off on foot.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So I assume they sent an ambulance, took you to the hospital.
They did.
Yeah. So how bad was your injury?
Very bad. You know, they I remember them talking that I could bleed out, or I was bleeding out. And you know, I remember them putting a syringe in, and it was filling full of blood. I mean, I'm lucky to be here.
Darryl, what was going through your mind?
Well, I could die, number one. But I lucked out.
Yeah. Now, were you married at the time?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And you weren't. I mean, you hadn't been on the street very long, right?
Not really.
Yeah. And you guys, I guess, were one man units, so you guys all patrolled single, right?
In the morning shift, and I was working mornings.
Okay.
One man car.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess you were off work for a while.
I was off more than a month. Then I went to. They put me in community relations to recuperate.
Oh God, light duty. Oh, that's horrible.
It is. Well, I had a great partner though. I was working with a great cop named Ralph Benfani, a guy who'd caught more stick-ups in progress than anybody I know on the job. Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, that was the thing about being a cop. You don't want to get hurt because then they give you, they put you on the desk or give you some crappy job on the inside that you had. So you recovered and I guess went back to work. So I guess did you just make a conscious decision that, hey, I'm going to get this guy?
Well, absolutely. Now, I didn't tell you how he escaped.
All right, see you guys. Bye. Yeah,